Do we love all cash offers? And my answer is, I'm in love with all cash offers. I love all cash offers for one reason and one reason only. It makes the transaction go smoothly, or most of the time, right? So in this video, we're going to talk about the definition of all cash. I know you think that's simple, but also the pros and cons and some pitfalls to avoid when you're dealing with an all cash buyer. Well, let's get into it. What is cash? For those of you who do not recognize it because you're using Zelle and Venmo and electronic digital, it's the green stuff. It looks like this. And I love this. I love money. I love cash. It's a good day when you have a lot of this in your wallet. However, if somebody comes to you and has a bag full of cash and they want to buy your house, you're going to tell them this isn't Ozark. We're not doing any money laundering. And every escrow company I know will not deal with all cash. And the green stuff is what I'm talking about when purchasing a home. If you have a buyer that's offering this in a backpack at the close of escrow for discounting the price, understand that their property taxes are going to be lower because the amount you're going to be closing is going to be lower because it is not a true representation of price. And when you receive that money in that backpack, when you hand over the keys, understand that that is an illegal activity. And believe it or not, it happens more in our industry than you realize. Do not do this. The banks are highly audited and the government is looking at those amounts. And if you don't think you're going to get caught, let me tell you, I've heard horror stories. Stay away from all cash. No green stuff in real estate. You'll thank me later for that. And what I love about all cash deals is that it's a really quick close, okay? So you get an offer and you close anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 12 days, okay? So if you are a seller and you receive an offer and they're offering you all cash, but they're telling you it takes 30 to 45 days to close, that's not an all cash offer. There is something else going on. This is a big red flag. The number one most common reason why they're asking for a longer period of time to close on the property is because these buyers can have their money held up in CDs and they're waiting for their CDs to mature. Well, that's not good for us, okay? I don't care if your CDs, you need 45 days. Well, it's going to cost me money. Well, yeah, but you are making an all cash offer. And the reason why we're accepting it is because it's supposed to be easier. There's a lot that can happen in 45 days. Let's first start with, I have a mortgage payment I have to pay for, or HOAs, or utility costs, or hey, who knows? There could be a slab leak within 45 days, and now we have a problem. This is why I don't like long escrow periods or long closing periods. I hate them. There's just way too much that can go wrong, and it costs the seller a lot of money if the escrow or the transaction is a very long period of time. So the reason why I love all cash offers is because it's supposed to be very quick and we close in a short period of time, and it limits the risk and puts more money into the seller's hands because they're not having all those overhead costs. So if you are accepting an offer from a buyer that is waiting for his CDs to mature, I would say, heck no. Or charge them a little more because it's costing you a little bit more. Now, I get this a lot too. A buyer will submit an offer saying, hey, it's an all cash offer, but I got to sell my home first. I just opened escrow, or we just signed a contract on my property. And so we want you to take our offer. It will be all cash, but we still have to go through all of our buyers' investigations. And I say that is just no good unless all of their contingencies are removed, because we don't know what their buyer is going to be like. We don't know if the agents on their side are a bunch of ding-a-lings and it's going to screw up the deal, holding your property up. And it's a very, very risky situation when you are accepting a contingent offer unless all the contingencies are removed. But even that, there is always a probability that that buyer still could back out, putting you at risk. So don't discount your price. Do not if you have a contingent offer. It's nice if all the contingencies are removed, but so help me, you guys accept an offer that's contingent on the buyer selling their house and it's not even under contract and they're still going through their buyer's investigations if they accepted an offer, that is a very risky position to be in, and you want to avoid it if you can. I always suggest to my clients that, hey, we'll entertain this offer, but the contingencies have to be removed first before we consider moving forward. It's really important. Okay, I need your help. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm at 38,000, I think, right now. Oh, I'm so close. So thanks so much for your support. If you're getting benefit out of this video, please subscribe and smash the like button. So I get this a lot too. A buyer will come in, say, hey, I'm all cash. Here's my proof of funds. And I just want you to know that my bank is going to loan me some money against what I have in my savings account or my investment account. It's really easy. I do it all the time. It's really quick. Baloney. There is nothing quick. Nothing quick about any banking institution involved when trying to close on a property, okay? It's not all cash unless you just hit a button and it's directly wired into the title or escrow company. Do you hear me on that? Anytime there's any approval or any institution that has to approve a all-cash offer, it's not an all-cash offer. Okay, here's another one I get. Oh, here's my offer. It's like all cash. I'm going to put all cash here because I'm working with a hard money lender and we get this thing done in 12 days. It's super easy peasy. Okay, folks, it's not easy peasy when you're dealing with a hard money lender. There's still a person having to approve it. They oftentimes ask for appraisals. I can't tell you how many hard money lenders have gone south. So it's not all cash. If somebody has to approve some type of loan or some type of payment for the buyer, they're going to present the offer to you like it's all cash, but hard money lending is not all cash. It's called hard money lending because there is lending involved. I'm not saying not do it. I'm just saying it's not all cash. In fact, I just closed a hard money loan transaction, and the day we were closing, the title company had to go by the property to verify there was no construction being done on the property. Well, the title company rep got in a car accident and we weren't able to close. Okay, this is called headache. Just understand that the most important part of all cash is it's supposed to be easy. And these are some examples I'm giving you that aren't easy. So if you are a seller, the most important thing you can take from this video is, where is the money coming? Where is the money? Show me the money. I want a quick little button that sends the wire over to the title and escrow company. You guys feeling me on this? Here's another one that I absolutely hate. Absolutely hate. And that is, you'll have an all-cash offer. They're going to show you a bank account that has all their cash in it that they can buy the house cash. And then a few days into the transaction, they're going to come and say, oh, we changed our mind. The rates are going up and we want to take a small loan on the property. So they make an offer all cash trying to secure the offer. And then they get the transaction under contract and then they do a switcheroo on you. And you're kind of like, oh gosh, geez, what do I do? I guess it's okay, right? No, it's not all right. So you have to protect yourself if you're a seller. So you're going to write in the contract that this is an all cash offer and there's going to be no lending institution involved in this transaction. Make sure you write that in there because I can't tell you how many times I'm seeing that in offers right now. It's very hot in my neighborhood, meaning in my area that I represent. So we have a lot of these buyers saying, hey, let's just get it under contract. Let's tell them it's all cash. And then let's get them down the process. And then they don't want to turn around because they're already invested in the process. So they're probably going to work with our, hard money lender, or they're going to work with us with working with the mortgage company. Please hear me out. I hate working with mortgage companies. I hate it. And I guarantee you, most buyers do too. And it's not the mortgage company's problem. It's highly regulated. They have certain guidelines they have to adhere to. And I'm sure there's some mortgage companies that are better than others. But the most important thing that I want you to understand is whoever we're talking to, meaning either the buyer or the seller or their agent, whoever we're talking to at that lending institution is not the person who's making the decision, okay? They're going to tell us whatever we want to hear to give us some comfort and to give us some reassurance that everything's on track, but they don't even know. They don't know because they're not the ones making the decisions. It's the lender's underwriting department who's making that decision. It's another added stressor in the transaction. We don't know if the loan's going to go through until well into the process because those lenders are so dang slow. And normally most lenders will say, we can get this loan approval done in 17 days. Okay, folks, I could move my entire family who is slow to another continent in 17 days. Why does it take 17 days for loan approval? And yes, I know there are some that can do it quicker, but even that, quicker means 12 to 15 days. Guys, that's not quick. So the benefit of an all-cash offer is it's quick. It limits the seller's financial burden with their taxes and their mortgage payment, but more importantly, it also limits their risk. I'm hating a lot today, but I really hate long escrow periods because a lot can happen. Murphy's Law, as soon as you put your house on the market, it's amazing how your house gets sad and it doesn't want you to leave and it starts having all these problems. So the beauty of an all-cash offer is that it saves money for the seller and it also limits the risk for the seller. There's not as many things to be concerned about. Now, this next one, I got to be careful how I say this. I am not discriminating. This is just a fact, okay? If you get an offer and they show you proof of funds and the monies are coming from overseas, it should be something to be concerned about because I've been in several transactions where that money can't make it over, okay? There's restrictions from various different countries. So if you have some proof of some funds being overseas, you need to make sure that they have enough money in domestic U.S. to cover the balance of the home if they're coming in all cash. More importantly, if money is coming overseas, I would definitely put a stipulation in the contract that maybe within 5-10 days of the transaction that your earnest money deposit is hard release, meaning that they understand if that money doesn't come in overseas, that at least you're being paid for the time your house is being taken off the market. Now, in my escrow company, and I'm sure some of you have those title reps, there are some reputable banks and they have had experience with moving money overseas. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying be alert. There can be some headaches and you want to be aware of that and you want to avoid it and you want to have some reassurances in place. Now, this one's really important, okay? Listen up. If you are working with an all-cash offer, you want to write in that contract that the funds are to be received in title or escrow, whatever applies to you, within 24 to 48 hours before closing on the property. And the reason why is you want to make sure those funds are in the proper account for closing before you pack up your bags and leave. I can't tell you how many horror stories I've heard where the sellers move off the property and the funds never make it into escrow or title. Another something that I always recommend to my sellers is that I say, hey, let's do COE plus 3. COE plus 3 means close of escrow plus 3 days. What that means is you close on the property and then the seller has 3 days to vacate. Now, a lot of buyers aren't happy with that because they're not comfortable with the seller being there. Well, what I say is I'm not comfortable with the seller moving off the property unless they have money in the bank that they know the deal is going to close. I live in a very paranoid world because I've heard and seen so many crazy things that have happened. And let me tell you something, I'm not happy until I see money in the bank. I see this a lot too, where a buyer will make an offer and they'll say, here's my proof of funds. It's in a retirement account or it's in my stock portfolio account and I'm going to liquidate these assets and that's where I'm going to come up with the money. All right, folks, that takes time. And usually the buyers are a little reluctant to liquidate these assets because they're making money on it. And sometimes these buyers don't understand the costs or the fees that go along with liquidating a retirement account. So you got to, number one, make sure they understand the costs. You also want to make sure that they understand that this money has to be liquidated and in title or escrow before we close. So you're going to write a stipulation in the contract that says this: buyers are going to pay a per diem rate any day past the closing date, whether it be $1,000, whether it be $550, whether it be $150. And you come up with it. Your agent will probably give you guidance on that. But the reason why you're going to do that is I can't tell you how many times we get to closing date and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just taking way longer than we thought. Well, guess what? We accepted your all-cash offer because it was supposed to be quick, it was supposed to be easy, and now we're being inconvenienced and we're not being fairly compensated for your delay. So make sure you write that per diem rate into the contract. That'll save you a lot of headache, I promise you. Now, in my experience, not always, these all-cash buyers, they want a discount off the price because of ease of doing business. And we just talked about how sometimes it's not that easy. But they feel like because they're coming in all cash that they should get some type of discount. So they start negotiating on price a little bit. They start negotiating in the repairs. So we need to get ahead of this. I'm going to recommend anybody watching this channel that they get a home inspection and appraisal on the property before they even put it on the market. I'm also going to recommend that that seller fills out all of their state disclosures before they even put their house on the market. So when you're negotiating with this all-cash buyer, you know, you're going to write in that contract. Well, now you're going to write another stipulation that goes something like this. The seller is not offering any credits or repairs to the buyer, okay? So you're going to write that right in the contract because you're already telling them all the things that are wrong with the property because you're offering that home inspection, you're offering the disclosures. And of course, if there's something wrong in that home inspection that's significant, you as a seller are going to want to get ahead of it. You're going to want to correct it. And when you hand over your disclosure package, you're going to say, here's a home inspection, here's a termite inspection. These are the things that we corrected. That will simplify the whole transaction. And now you've got that all cash buyer kind of over the barrel where you are the seller and you're managing your all cash buyer, because they can get a little squirrely. So sometimes it's really smooth. And if you do all the things that I told you to do in this video, you have a higher success with dealing with an all cash buyer. I wish you all the luck. So I love all cash offers. If they're short, meaning the time frames are short, if we know where the money's coming from. I also love that we're not working with the lender. And I also want to make sure you guys understand how important you write those stipulations in the contract, because you got to manage these all cash buyers. They can get a little squirrely on you, right? The downside to dealing with an all cash offer is sometimes you don't realize you're not really dealing with an all cash offer. So make sure, guys, watch this video, watch it again. And when you have the funds, proof of funds that come in, make sure you ask those questions. And if you're working with a seasoned agent, then obviously they can do some research for you, but you need to understand that component. And if you are working with an agent that doesn't really know that, you can do some investigation work yourself. I would highly suggest you do that. So the goal this year is 50,000 subscribers. I'm almost at 40,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for your support. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, I would forever be grateful. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.